Okay, so there's a lot to it, and only a dumbass joins a secret society or dedicates their life to understanding their point of view. So, first of all, why is the word slaughter the word laughters scrambled? It's called an anagram. When one word has the letters rearranged and it makes one or more word. Why is that? If we look at John, for example, in the Bible, John chapter 1, the word becomes flesh, right? The word, the essence of the word, because the word is also compared to water and oil and other things, right? The sword. What is the essence of these things when in regards to God's righteous and just spirit? It becomes flesh. Chapter 2, Jesus turns water into wine and clears the temple court. In chapter 3, we see the discussion with Nicodemus, where he talks about people must be born again in water and in spirit. Okay, so to make a long story short, the Bible is actually Bible. The Bible is not, I repeat, not by God, and I'll prove that definitively. Okay, definitively. First of all, Biblos, right, meaning book. The lady of Biblos is Balat. What are the odds that the lady of Biblos is called Balat? It's called the Bible, and there's Phoenicians in the Bible, Phoenician Canaanite system, etc. And it's called the Bible and sounds, right? Phonetics, sounds, Phoenicians, phonetics. Bel. Another name for Baal is Bel. Another name for Baal or another form of Baal is Zeus. And Dionysus, listen very carefully. Dionysus is a young Zeus. So what does this have to do with the Uvalde shooting, might ask? What does that have to do with the Uvalde shooting? Well, the Uvalde shooting was a slaughter. And even the news on CNN, I heard him call it a ritual child sacrifice. But they wouldn't dare go into details if they knew those details. Dionysus, from Dios, another name for Zeus, his name means a young Zeus. In fact, another name for Zeus is also Lovis, a.k.a. love is. Love is. To the Luciferian, LGBT Luciferian, Zeus is the god that they worship, right? The king of the gods, the main god they worship. The other people are just family members. Now again, I don't give the first fuck about their religion, okay? This is the kind of general idea. I don't care to get your pedophile religion right. I think people who live it are fucking sick. Your Greek religion that has corrupted every church on the planet, and every church was wicked from its beginning onwards, okay, causes 1 in 4 little girls to get molested, countless children to die, and it has to do with suffering, which is also a play on words. For fuss, F, Eri, and G. And G is the earth deity. Satan is the god of the world, the god of the earth. That is how the Bible describes him, and I believe it's 2 Corinthians 4:4, New Living Translation. So suffering is fuss, F, Eri, and G. And Eri, or Ares, okay, to the Satanist is a deity of chaos and discord. Okay, so they mix the worldly earth energy with the discord. Now, how do we know this? Well, how was wine made? Dionysus is a deity of the harvest, of grapes, of religious ecstasy and ritual madness. And his followers are often drunk, sick LGBT people and white supremacists, talking about that's the commonality of all white people, sick governing class trash especially, who would seek to try to correct me, and they said, no, you don't know what you're talking about. You know what you're talking about. You know, I do know that you are guilty of these crimes. Do I know what it's like to be a sick fuck living this bitch ass shit? No. Thank goodness. Thank goodness I do not know it from your point of view. I know that you are wrong about God and life. I know that justice requires a certain degree of logic. If you say that justice doesn't exist, then you're saying that logic doesn't exist. Because logic is what shows us that justice exists and what shows us what is logically true justice. The logical assumption, the logical conclusion, the sound conclusion. Anyway, so going back to it, Dionysus is connected to their fake conception of Jesus, right? It's a young Zeus who's going to go back to the father, right? He's going to grow into a older Zeus and be Zeus, whose Roman version is Jupiter, Jew, pit, ear. Okay? The Dionysian cult is about rape. Jupiter, Zeus, Set, these are rape deities. These are the main rape deities of the entire world. No world's rape deities has raped more than these deities. Millions of rapes in World War II. The people using Western technology and Western philosophies and Western secret societies. Hell, one of these secret societies in Africa is called the Vikings in Nigeria. Okay, using these ideas, raped millions of people in Africa. Millions of, countless Native Americans were raped by the West in these same Dionysian Greco-Roman society spirits, really world energies and cultures. Now, a spirit can be a spirit is an animating principle, a dominating force, a prevailing tendency. So they tend to lie. They tend to lie in a calculated manner. That's their tendency that they've given into. That's their spirit. Rape, pedophilia, complicity with these things, collective guilt and complicity with these things, exploitation, idolatry, you name it. That's part of their spirit. Okay? So what happened in Uvalde was just part of the suffering. A good way to understand this is when in Star Wars, Darth Vader was, he first gets the suit on, and he says, "Where is Padme? Is she safe? Is she all right?" And he says, "It seems in your anger, you killed her." He's trying to blame him for what he caused and mastermind behind the scenes, mind you. And then he absorbs the suffering in the air. When Vader goes, "No," right? He absorbs the suffering in the air. The suffering is part of the ritual. These people continually cause people to suffer. Dionysus is a deity of wine. Think rich bitches with wine on vineyards, okay? And they're like, "Oh, we're important. Oh, I'm important. I'm important. Oh, you're important." Oh. It's like the Mad Hatter. You know what I'm saying? It's fucking retarded. It is stupid. And they twist events like, "Have a merry on birthday to you, to me." Now, some people say some bitch shit like, he's talking about Star Wars and the Mad Hatter now and conspiracy theory. That's part of it too. A cast and sarcasm. A cast and casting a spell. Spelling, right? Jew, pit, ear, right? Dionysus. Dionysus. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Just rape, cult, trash. The shooting in Uvalde, first and foremost, I promise you, is about sexual control. These people allow their money to be devalued when they purposely create inflation because their main concern is to get you to come to them on their knees for sexual control. Yes, they like money, they like nice things, but they like having their way with children and females as well. So watch your kids especially, and especially watch your attractive females. Though you're not going to do a good enough job if you don't rally and obey God through me. In the end of the Bible, in Revelations, it talks about the prostitute that is drunk on the blood of the saints. So what has happened here? The Word became flesh. Okay? You have to be born. Okay. The Word became flesh. Jesus turned water to wine. The water is the spirit, the wine is the blood, and is also the spirit in the blood. Okay? Bear with me now. In pagan mythology, the genius is a sort of spirit that accompanies somebody. So their conception of the Bible, which was written by them to trick the righteous into being confused and going to them for an explanation. So few things are more despicable than them insisting on being in charge. That's part of what the Bible's there for. It's for you to be confused and say, "Hey, what does this mean?" They say, "I'll show you what it means. Why they fuck your kids in the fucking ass. Why they sexually control you. Why they abuse you. Use, confuse, and abuse. Confuse. Congregation. The minister and administering poison and drugs and bullshit. Circe, where we from Kirk, Kirk with the root word of church, or Circe, phonetics. Sir, C-H-U-R, sir, right? The C is the S sound. C, the spelling of church. Circe is a witch in pagan mythology. And the son of Helios The sun, that's why you go to church on Sunday. So to make a long story short, it is ritual sacrifice. The whore that rode the beast is Hera, and it is the genius of Hera, and it is a ritual sacrifice where first they allow the righteous to draw the Spirit of God, and then they ritually harass them, right? The word har is another word for Horus. Har and ass, and they're LGBT people. Okay, then they cause the suffering, which is where they absorb the Spirit, right? They absorb the Spirit of Him suffering, which creates the ritual setting for the ceremony, the prolonged, ongoing ceremony. And the genius of Hera is said to be drunk off the blood of the saints, who are the victims of this ritual that is, for the last 2,000 years especially. I mean, they've been doing this before that. They've been doing this since Rome began and before. Romulus and Remus myth and so on and so forth. Okay, to make a long story short, at the end of the ritual, and it connects to Dracula and so on and so forth, at the end of the ritual, all females are reduced to nothing, which is what we see here going on in society with the gender neutral stuff. Okay, and Hera is said to be burned by the beast. Okay, and of course beast is brute beast and beast is beta Scrabble. Okay, and that is what's going on here. I'll make a part 2 because there's a lot to this, but that is the general idea, right? The idea is that they believe that the righteous are drawn in the Spirit of God, and they want them to suffer. It's a way for them to try to get at God, and then they absorb the spirit of that suffering, and then they abuse people and pretend they're important. And a main component of it is sexual control, because Zeus is a deity of rape, and Dionysus is a young Zeus.